Finally, let's talk elements. Welcome back to our starter kit course for Learn Brizy Cloud. My name is JP, and now we talk about content when we talk about elements. You've seen in the previous video, whenever you want to bring something onto the page, you can simply click here on the plus, and that will open the elements drawer from where you can get the elements to build out your page. You can also, let's click outside to close the drawer, go to the sidebar on the left and click here on this add elements, and it will do the same for you. Wow, there's quite a number of them. And you'll find this in most programs out there, a plethora. And then sometimes you get add-ons and extensions that make it even bigger and more overwhelming. The strange thing is, my son, about 4 to 6 of them are going to make up 90% of all the websites you see out there. The first one is the text element. The text element, where do you find web pages without text on it? With the text element, you bring text onto the page. The other one that's super popular is a button. You need to click somewhere, and that's done with a button. Icons, also very popular. And then images, you find them everywhere. The next two, no, not really. Audio and video. Some will have video. Audio, in my case, never. And then I have my favorite in Brizy, which is the spacer. You're going to see we will use this one quite a lot. And then also the line element. I'm very fond of lines. So these guys are ones. The text, button, icon, image, spacer, and line. I use them quite a lot. The others are nice ones, especially the form one. The form is also going to be one that you will use a lot. But then you have icon box, counter, countdown, tabs, progress, accordion, and they all have their place and time on your web page. These guys in the red dots are pro, so you cannot use them, they are locked. Then we have a few here at the bottom, posts and translate. And then these two, which are also elements, row and column. Previously, we looked at the column. In the future, we'll look at row. Each element has an abundance of features. And we will have separate videos on the elements so that if you want to deep dive into every element, you will know how to work that. But let's say in my case, I already know I am only going to be working with a certain number of elements, and I don't need all this appearing here in this drawer. I can clean it up a bit. That I can do by going up here and clicking on edit. And you'll see everyone's got a check mark. So those I'm not going to use. Let's say I'm not going to use audio, video, icon box. Let's leave that. Embed, no. Map, let's leave that. These I'm not going to use now. So what I'll just do is I'll go ahead and deselect them all. And it's no problem. You can always bring them back later. So if you get to a point where like, hey, I need that one, you just come and you select them again. And Facebook, Twitter, and comments don't need that. But I will leave the row and column selected for now. Now when I click done, whoop, I have a nice little redux here, and only those that I need appear here. For me, love it, very convenient. You would think, JP, don't remove all those other elements, they are so awesome. They are pretty awesome. But again, you're going to find once you start building out websites that many of them have very limited usage. But when you need them, and then I will bring them back. Let's start with the text element. The same way you brought in the column element is the same way you're going to bring in any other element. And that's by click, hold, and drag. And the moment I do that, look at all those. Let's drop it again. The moment I click on it and start dragging, Brizy shows me on the page, hey, over here. Where you see a blue line, you can drop it. Where you see a pink line, you can drop it. And that's where you can bring your text element. I'll drag it inside this column. And now you will see that there is my text with some placeholder text that Brizy provides. So you have a visual representation of what the text element can do. And at the same time, you can see it's inside this column. Now let's bring in a button. So click, hold. Again, my page lights up with where I can drop it. But I want to put it under the text. So I'll drag it all the way over here. And then just hover below the text until that line turns thick, and then I'll drop it, and there's my button. I hover over it, you see the little bounding box for the button, bounding box for the text. Let's bring in a line. So line over here, click, hold, and drag, same thing. I'll drop it under the button, which is weird, but we're going to do that. And let's bring in lastly an image. Click, hold, and drag. under the line, wait for the thick gray line and drop it. And it will have this little placeholder where you can bring the image. Click outside to close the elements drawer. This, of course, looks horrendous, and we're going to build out an entire section in the next video so that you can see how you can go from looking very chaotic to something very well arranged and organized. Let's look at a few things here to understand how elements work. To rearrange an element, you click and hold and drag. In this case, I need to move the image to the top. I click, hold, and drag. And now you will see again, wherever I go and there's a thick gray line that appears, that's where I can drop it. I want it on top of the text, so I drop it there. Then let's go to the line. I want the line between the image and the text. So click, hold, drag, same thing, and I drop it over there. Now let's say, oh, I put the button in the wrong column. I actually wanted it in that column over here. Same thing. Hover over the button, click, hold, drag, and drop it on the plus, and there's the button. Let's move the text to another column. Click, hold, drag, and drop it there. And now you can see how these two populate the respective columns. So far, I've placed everything inside a column, but it doesn't have to be inside a column. It can be outside a column as well, as long as it's inside a block, because without a block, there's nothing. Let's move this image out of the column. So I click, hold, and drag. And then here, all the way to the bottom where you see the thick gray line there, you will see it runs below those two blue lines on the left and the right. If I drop it now, I have this massive image. And if I hover over it, there's no blue box because it's outside of a column now. Put it back inside a column, click, hold, and drag, and I'll put it in this column. And again, you can see how crazy you can go by building out and having it the way that you want it to look. That's how we move things around. So I'm going to just quickly move it into something respectable again here on the right like this. And once you get used to it, you see it can go very quickly. Each one has their own settings, like I've mentioned, and to do that, you hover over it until you see that little box appears, like here is the line, that bounding box. That is the border of the element. And then to get the options, click on it, and the options toolbar will appear. Very similar again to what we've seen previously. Here you have a delete. Let's delete it. And now, let's say I want to bring it back. You can undo your move. Undo here at the bottom, or you can hit on your keyboard the shortcut key, Control-Z or Command-Z, and the image is back. Click on it to bring up the options toolbar. Next to that, you can duplicate it. Now we have two of them. Let's delete this one. Click on it one more time, and you'll see we have other options as well, which we will go into detail. I said it all the time, but really we will in the Elements tutorial videos. Same thing, if you want to change the line, you can click on it. There you have the options for the line again. Same for the text, and same for the button. Sometimes, like the image, and as well as here with the line, when you click on it, you will see these little handles appear. Wherever you see these handles, they are sizing handles. So you can click, hold, and drag them, and you can change size. If I click on the line, same thing. Very intuitive. With this selected, you'll also notice that we have the settings that will appear on each and every toolbar for an element. Same like before with the block. If I click on the settings, it opens with some additional settings, as well as the styling and the effects. If I select styling, we have similar sidebar again, effects up here again. And that means, great stuff. And those are the elements. Let's now see how we can actually build something out with it, change the content so that I can begin working on my website and not talk about the wonderful world of structure, layout, and settings.